we're going to get a kind of happy that brings real happiness and satisfaction. So are you ready? So here we go. Now I kind of feel bad for Annette because she's on the spot and I'm not playing. But let me take care of the heat and then we'll see how you do. Okay, here we go, Steelers. Oh, I like the Steelers. What can I say? All right, America, here's the deal. Right now, Congress is bickering with the president. Members of Congress on both parties are bickering with the president, deciding on how they're going to raise America's debt limit and what they will accept and what they will not accept. Now, they're threatening some members of Congress, some particular party, we won't say, is threatening that if there are not dramatic cuts in Medicaid, health care, Social Security, and Medicare and other entitlements, that the debt ceiling may not be lifted. And if we default on our debt, it could adversely affect each and every American. That's what we've been told. I'm not going to say that if we default on our debt, that won't do what they say. But you know what? The funny part is that it ain't funny. But every member of Congress, and I mean the ones that I like, the ones I think are doing a good job, and the ones that should not be in there because what they are doing.
The ones that sit and rotate.
Well, let's not go there. The ones that, let's just say, should be behind bars. Yeah, I said it. Congress has people that should not be in Congress, should be in jail. I said it, and you know what? I'm glad I did. But that's beside the point. Here's the deal. Congress says we need to control our spending. Congress says we need to not default. Congress says they're very concerned about the president and other members of Congress spending too much. Congress says a lot. But what doesn't Congress say? Well, they didn't tell you a few little old facts, like they didn't tell you that over the last 4 years, they lent the banks $12 trillion.
I remember that.
Now wait a minute. If we're $14 trillion in debt, if we're in danger of defaulting, where did the Treasury get an extra $12 trillion? So that's number one. So we already debunked that lie. Now, here's the other thing, my friends. We're in debt, right? And you're concerned, and I'm concerned, and you know, we gotta reduce our spending. And I'll tell you what, we gotta reduce our spending. So I keep hearing on the news. Well, you know what I don't understand? Why is it that we have to pay almost $80 million a year just to keep the members of Congress in office? $80 million. And I'm not talking about the campaign costs. Now, if we add up the campaign costs, that's probably maybe 2 or 3 billion or more. I'm not even counting that. Now, my friends, every single member of Congress, and I've said this before, but think about this. Every single member of Congress makes at least $174,000 a year. And that's not counting any kind of trips, benefits, whatever it is, lobbyist money. I'm not counting any of that. I'm talking about the job that they do. They get $174,000 a year, right? Okay, we established that. So that's $174,000 times 531 people. Yeah, I didn't make a mistake. There's 535 members of Congress. But see, the general, the so-called non-leaders of Congress, they get $174,000 guaranteed. Now, the minority leader in the House gets $193,000 guaranteed a year. The minority and the majority leaders in both houses, they get at least $193,000. Now, the Speaker of the House, which is John Boehner at the time, $223,000 guaranteed. Now think about this. Now, I want you to think hard and long on this. Well, maybe not that long, but certainly hard. Each one of them makes $174,000, and some make $223,000, $193,000. Well, when you add all that up, okay, you're looking at close to $80 million if we add all the blah, 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 blah up there, right? Now, check this out. All these members of Congress saying that we need to save money. You know what? I did not hear one member of Congress, not one, not a Democrat, not a Republican, not even an independent, not one has said to me or to you, let's take a $100,000 pay cut. Every member of Congress, if they really cared about you, and they cared about me, and they cared about the country, and they want to save money, why don't they volunteer to take a $100,000 pay cut? So that would mean that every member of Congress that is not a leader would make $74,000. Now, you can say, well, that's not even $100,000. Well, here's the thing. What they call the median wages in America. Some Americans are lucky enough to have what they call the median wages. That's $61,000. So if we said to the members of Congress, cut it down to $74,000, they're still going to make more than most of their bosses make. So here's the thing. Let's say that every member of Congress cut their pay to $74,000, including the minority and the Speaker of the House. They said, yeah, I'm willing to cut it down. Well, the Speaker of the House would be down to $123,000. And then, of course, the minority leaders and majority leaders would get $93,000. So they're still doing good. They're not in line waiting to get a free bowl of soup. You know what I'm saying? So here's the thing. I want all of you to think about this. Why hasn't Congress said, we'll take that pay cut? Now, you might think, well, when we're talking about trillions of dollars, that's not that much money. Okay, I'll tell you what. If they took that pay cut, we would be saving almost $39 million. Now, when we're talking trillions, $39 million is like maybe $1, okay? I understand that. But it's the principle of the thing, number one. And let me ask all of you out there, if I said to you, here's an extra $39 million, you may be the richest person on earth. But if I came up to you and I said, hey, I'm going to give you $39 million, how many of you out there would refuse $39 million? 39 million. So what I'm saying to you is, it's not about being a Republican. It's not about being a Democrat. It's about us finally realizing we need to be Americans. Now, we got a call here. I'm not going to stay too long on the call.
It's probably your sister.
I don't know who it is, but I don't have much time because I got to throw this in. Now, having said what I said about Congress, they're not taking the pay cut. But we're going to start talking about taxes, and then we're going to talk about something that, yeah, you're going to be pissed off. Excuse my language. You're going to be upset. Sorry about that P word. You're going to be upset. Caller number 3. We only have a minute or two, so can you say what you got to say?
Okay, it is me, and that was right. Now, how about the Tea Party? Are they part of Congress or not? Or do they get along?
There are some members.
Happy Italian Day to all. Happy Italian Day.
What?
Happy Italian.
Oh, happy Italian Day to the Italian sons and daughters of America. Okay.
My question, put that number back up there so I can write it down. Maybe I will call.
Okay, well, we can tell you the number is, to call Congress is.
I get off the phone. I can't write it down. No.
Okay, well, Diane, I'm trying to talk here. The number to call Congress is 120.
Well, you can't answer my question. The
What?
Tea Party, do they get as part of that money or not?
Oh, well, yeah, the Tea Party has a couple of members in Congress, from what I understand. But let's move on to that, and I will give you the number for Congress. But I need to move forward because I need to get this stuff in, and I don't have much time. So what other comments do you have?
Do they talk about the jobs? Does that affect anybody?
I don't want to talk about drugs. Not right now.
Not drugs, jobs.
I can't hear you.
Jobs, J-O-B, jobs.
Oh, jobs. Well, we'll talk about so-called jobs at some other point if we have time. But right now, I'm going to move forward. Now, I'm going to be getting really tough, so get ready for it, everybody.
I want the number.
All right, we're going to move forward. We're moving forward.
Later,
Good night, Diane. 1 a.m. I hate to rush her through, but we cannot waste this time. And I'm not saying we're wasting time. What I'm saying, I cannot not get this in. Now, I'm going to move my head a little bit, relax, because my back's hurting. I do have a bad back, but hey, I get the job done. Looks like we have another call. Caller, I'm going to ask you to hold on. We got to get this work done. Now, here's the sad, sad truth that's going to tick you off and make you sad. Right now, because of the way our Congress and corporations throughout the United States,
it always gets back to Congress.
do not interrupt me right now. I'll get to you.
Go ahead.
He's going to give me a headache, everybody. No, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Because of Congress and corporations, America's future is extremely bleak. I'm not gonna make it sound, it's not sugarcoat it. That's what the word was. No, it's very bleak. Your children's future, grandchildren, and their descendants, well, their futures are very, very, very bleak. In fact, I'll throw this at you. If we do not start doing what I am proposing, we may very well lose America altogether. And I don't mean a physical loss of the country, but I mean all the principles we stood for and all the hard work that civilians and veterans fought and died for since the beginning of this nation may be completely gone. And we may end up with zero freedom. Now, I know this sounds extremist. Believe me, I know. But we got to remember what we're dealing with here. Right now, they're saying that if we don't raise this debt limit, that we can default on our loans and that can really destroy the country. That may or may not be true. But what is true, most of everything we have that we buy is made in a foreign nation, and principally China. Well, we must not forget that China has extremely bad human rights violations and extremely low-paying jobs, and frankly, you don't really matter much as a citizen in China. The citizens don't matter. We also have to remember that because we are not making things, for the most part, it's either being made in Mexico, China, Taiwan, Afghanistan, wherever it is, some other country. But the majority of what we have is imported. So that affects us on multiple levels. But first of all, it causes us millions of jobs. Millions of people are out of work because we are no longer making things. But it also means that we are not generating money. And therefore, that is why we owe over $1 trillion to China. So it is hurting our national security, your security, and mine. But it's also costing our future. Now, also, our politicians have not ensured every American has a chance to go to college. And we have not been educating our children so that they know sciences and math, so that they can compete. So there are like at least 1,000 things that are really bad with our nation. And the fact is, if we continue to keep importing stuff from all over the world, there's even yet another. What happens if a day comes where China just does not any longer want to have anything to do with the United States, not financially, not selling their goods? Well, if all of the stuff being made, from bathroom tissue to the American flag to a car, to a shirt, to whatever you can imagine. If China stops, we are not going to be able to survive. So we must get manufacturing back. We must get new technologies. We must invest the trillions of dollars, if need be, in educating our children. We can't let the politicians lie to us. But it is a much larger scale than even that. I'm talking about things right now that only affect the United States. But do you realize that almost every person on this earth is a slave? Yeah, I said it. You are a slave either financially or in your job. Or you're a servant. You may not be a slave, but you're a servant, which amounts to being a slave. Now, these are terrible things to say. And it's going to tick you off. And you should be mad, not at me, at your leaders and at every corporation that does this. But here's the thing. I'm going to tell you something. All of this can change. First of all, it does require you calling the president's comment line. It does require you getting out there and voting every election. It requires you calling Congress. It requires you writing. And if we cannot get our corporations and our government to listen to us, it requires you having days of no work, unless you're an emergency worker. What I'm calling for is a legal and a peaceful revolution, legally and peacefully, in the sense that we're going to do what it takes to bring back our nation. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I don't see a bleak future at all for America if all of you out there start listening. Get off your Twitter and do everything you need, because if we do what's right, we can have the money to educate our children. We can have the money to have everybody covered medically. And it doesn't need to be socialized medicine or any of those scare tactics that they love to say. What it needs to be is to put us in a situation where we can have every American being able to get honorable employment, words of Abraham Lincoln. And thus, they will have more money. They will have a comfortable life. And guess what? That means we could start bringing in industries, bringing back manufacturing so that you can have guaranteed work. Now, I know it seems like an impossible dream. No, I'm not naive. And yes, I am absolutely 100% convinced that we can make our nation better. And here, I'm going to do something that you didn't expect. I'm going to pull out a couple of weapons, legally and peacefully. Don't worry, they're nothing dangerous. Oh, they're dangerous, but you happen to have these weapons. Actually, and that has one of the weapons right now and didn't even know it. I'm going to show you a couple of weapons, so get ready for the weapons. I'm pulling them out. And remember, I'm Sicilian, so I know all about weapons. That's right. You see this? This is a cell phone. This is a weapon. This is a pen. This is a weapon. Then your computer, your iPad, your iPod, they're all weapons. Yeah, I said weapons. Legally, they are weapons. What do I mean? With this, you can send a text. With this, you can call a congressman. With this, you can call a corporation. With this, you can only not just call, you can even send an email. So this is a weapon. This can keep you in touch with every leader on the planet. And it can get you a better life. This is more powerful than every weapon on earth. It's more powerful than an AK-47. It's more powerful than a jet. It's more powerful than a tank. It's more powerful than an atomic bomb. Because with this, we can change lives peacefully. And not only can we do that, we can make sure that your family will never suffer again. Now, how do we do that? That's where it comes to where every Republican in this country needs to wake up and join the cause. Every Democrat needs to wake up and join the cause. What is the cause? The cause is starting to make every American pay their fair share. Room got silent, didn't it? Let me explain. Most Americans